say that for the
I know
meeting.
what you're talking about.
Stop dancing on the tables. They'd let you in.
Hey, I couldn't do that. My partner last year.
That was good.
He only danced if he could drink.
Like the Rankins and the Giles. Horses.
Well, I
a
was-
bunch of
Brooks
those
was-
guys there.
Greg Brooks was my partner.
Jeremy Miller's in that league this year with his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Snoopy.
Meeting will come to order at the Montcalm County Board of Commissioners, regular meeting for Monday, April 14th. We'll begin with a pledge. Please remain standing for the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Vice Chairman Peterson.
Yeah, we have Pastor Dennis Ross here from Nevins Lake Church. Lead us in prayer, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that we have, all that you've given to us. We pray today for this meeting of our county commissioners. Pray for your wisdom. Pray for the decisions and actions that they'll take, that they'll be consistent with your will. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call.
Alexander.
Here.
Johnston.
Here.
Peterson.
Yes, ma'am.
Painter.
I'm here, man.
Mahar.
Here.
Carr.
Yes,
Murray.
Here.
everyone's here. On tonight's agenda, I don't have any changes. Does anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Johnston.
I'd move to approve our agenda as presented.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Everyone have a copy of the meeting minutes of the last meeting, March 24th.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Johnston.
I would move to approve our minutes from the March 24th, 2025 meeting as presented.
Sport's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the last meeting, March 24th, 2025 as presented. Discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comments.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have a public comment from a constituent that wasn't able to make it today. Mr. Larry Cannon contacted our controller's office, which was routed to me, and had a complaint about our sheriff's department. He said that he had made a complaint, called in, made a complaint about people nosing around, taking some of his stuff. It was tied to an ex-wife. He called, made the complaint, was told that they do not come out for domestic situations unless there's a weapon involved. Came in the next day, talked to the lieutenant there, was told the same thing. I believe he followed up with the sheriff after that and was told the same thing, ended up making a incident report with a sergeant there. He wanted to express his disdain for the process and asked me if there was anything we could do, and I told him no. So he wanted me to make sure that that was part of the public comment. He's an older gentleman and had other priorities today. So that's my public comment.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments?
Ours is quick and fun. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Audrey Fleming. I'm a representative of the Montcalm Care Network. We are having a mental health stigma rally event on May 10th. It's called Walk With Me Against Stigma. It's essentially a walk-a-mile event. So it's from 9 to 11. I have flyers for you. So it starts at MCN. We're going to do a rally with lived experience, some pretty basic conversation. Then we're going to walk down to the American Legion, where Trevor Wright with Montcalm Vets is going to have a conversation with us about mental health around veterans, all that stigma, all that good stuff. And we're going to walk back to MCN together as a rallying group. And that's the event. But May is Mental Health Month. And so we were really talking about stigma reduction in our county and all those pieces that go with it. So we would love to have you. We have invited the Outmans to come as well. Catching my breath, sorry. So the Outmans, they're both invited. They came to our 5K event last year. We anticipate that they're going to come to our walk this year. So we would love to have all of you. If you're available, please join us. There's more information on CN's website. No one has to register or anything. It's a free event. You're welcome to show up, but we would love to have as many community representatives as we possibly can.
What day was it again?
Saturday, May 10th.
May 10th. Thank you.
Yep, I have. These are for you.
What time does it start?
Okay.
I'm sure it's on.
9 to 11.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? If not, our 405 agenda item, Steve Schofield is here from MCC to propose a second year of electronics recycling. Welcome.
Hello there. Sit in front of the crowd here. Still a little jet lag from traveling for 30 hours over the weekend, but
Not really.
getting there. Okay. Want me to start or what's
Yeah.
okay. So welcome everybody. Thank you for, first off, thank you for what you do. Thank you for, taking the responsibility of being commissioners. I appreciate it. I did send 2 documents to Brenda, and I always like to call out Brenda. Has been very responsive through this process and learning to work with the county and organizing like this. Definitely learned some stuff last year. So I guess there's a couple individuals that are new here. So just I put a brief summary at the top. I'm finishing up my 3rd year as a part-time computer instructor at MCC technology. I did leadership Montcalm years ago, and that kind of became my calling, so to speak, is do technology stuff at the county level. I do a couple different events. One, we do a thing called Tech Fest. It's a thing where we recruit all the high school students to come to the college. And the college adopted a new 5 pillars, and one of them is community outreach. And I like doing community outreach. And one of the things that I did over the years, I did cleanup projects and the other thing. And so last year I had some recycle stuff, and then I got a hold of Brenda. Well, I got a hold of somebody else. They sent me to Brenda. Brenda says, "Hey, let's try to do a recycle thing." And we did. So I don't have all the detailed report, but I did send in a summary, and it went real well. So just to let you know, last year, the county authorized $4,000 to do an event that went real well. We hosted it at the Sydney campus, and we hosted in Greenville, and it was hosted on September 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We partnered with a company in Grand Rapids called CompreNew. They are a longtime electronics recycler. They have multiple certifications. They provide staff and logistics. So people are bringing hard drives and old computers and stuff. They want a chain of custody, and they either take the hard drives or take stuff and either eliminate them or shred them. But they're a trusted partner. We have partnered with them a couple of years with the Tech Fest. So we've had a good experience with them. And Brenda invited me back to see if this is something that the county has appetite to do again. So I put together, there's a lot of information here, but really the top of it is you have 5 options. I didn't put the 5th option. You basically don't have to vote on it. But if this is something that the county would like to do, again, I'm willing to. I already have the approval of the college, so they'll be providing us up to 2 locations: the Sydney campus and the Greenville campus at no charge, so there's no rental fee. I did ask them if they would be willing to participate in the budget part of it, and they declined on that part because of they felt a service like this is more at a county, but they're definitely going to help us with providing logistics at the college. We did have. The event drew between 200 and 250 cars in the 3 hours. I was surprised, to be honest with you. The Sydney campus actually took in more poundage than the Greenville campus, but the Greenville campus actually took in about 150 cars. The Sydney campus took in between 80 and 100. So they bring in 26-foot trucks, and they had 3 or 4 people at each location. What I'm asking for today is if it does get discussion, what I'm going to call there's fixed pricing and there's variable pricing. The first one is that they have a cost. They charge $3,000 per location. So that's for them staff and logistics for the 3 hours. So that's bringing people out to handle all of the material and logistics of collecting it and transporting it back to their location. And I did try to negotiate something, but it is $3,000 per location. So if you decide, the first option, I think, glasses on here, the first option is, and below, at the bottom of the first page, it does basically included for free drop off. So there's a complete list of stuff there. One thing that's absent from there that would not be included in the pricing for free is flat screen TVs, flat screen monitors, and printers. Last year, I have to be honest with you, I was kind of surprised when we were just a little under budget last year and we took in a lot. And I did ask them, I'm like, hey, what was the, it was a one-time thing that they gave us where they included flat screen TVs and flat monitors. So the cost was a little under $4,000 if we would have had to pay for that. So last year was nice because we paid just for the logistics part of it and they threw in the TVs for free. And they would not do that this year because that's kind of their, like, for a first time event, they would give that to the partners with it. But so this year, there is a cost for those 3 items that I would recommend, but, excluding those 3 items, there is a list that is completely free for drop off. And if you decide, option 1 is you could do 1 location, take the free items, and that's what it would cost you, fixed cost. If you decided to do 2 locations in the free items, it would cost you $6,000. That's just for logistics. And the list, if you're curious what the items that are included, it is included on the first page. The other part is if you decide to do 1 location with the logistics costs, I took the cost from what we took in last year to see what would it have cost. So last year we talked about, I'm not really sure if I want to have kind of this unknown from a costing perspective. So, which was fair. So it worked out where we didn't have to pay for it. So at least we were able to do an event, for a year to kind of get an idea what will our intake be. So I put down for option 1 is $3,000 free stuff, no additional items, meaning no TVs, no CRTs, no flat monitors, no printers. So there's your fixed cost for option 1. Option 2 I put in here is 1 location, your fixed cost for logistics and labor, and then an estimate between $4,000 and $5,000 for TVs, monitors, and printers. That was based off of, I took the price, the quantity from 1 location or both locations just to come up with an idea that if we were to do 1 location in the fall, that would be at least an estimate. That is a variable pricing. We could take in more, we could take in less. So I just based that $4,000 to $5,000 off of the potential of what we would intake, because you're going to pay not only for the logistics, but you're going to pay for the TVs, the flat screens, and the printers. Just for, if you're curious, I did include the number of, last year we took in 84 in Greenville and we took 49 TVs in that. So my math is about 140 flat screens and TVs. There's a price, but like medium and large, but that was a very popular item we took in. So I just want you to realize that if you do decide to do a variable pricing, there is some risk of having a higher cost. So to let you know. The third option is if you wanted to just do 2 locations in the free stuff, that would cost you $6,000. There's no questions there. You're just going to pay for 2 separate locations on, we're planning, if this is approved and something that the county and the commissioners want to do for their constituents, we would do it on September 13th, 9 to noon. So the college is already on board for there. The last option is to do both locations with the option to take in TVs, take in the free stuff, plus your flat screen TVs and the monitors and printers. I did not include CRTs. So the CRTs are the big, the old big ones. We had a few people bring those last year, but we didn't have too many. They do charge a $60 to $80. I think it's $60 to $80. I'd have to double check, but for the CRTs. But just feedback to you, we didn't take that many in. So the flat screen TVs obviously are popular, that people want to recycle. Even after the event, I had people contacting me at the college, and I did defer them to Comprenew if they did want to recycle them. So I did have probably a half a dozen to a dozen people after the event throughout the year contact me. So I don't know how many people contact Brenda on a regular basis, but I guess before I kind of turn it over to you, the other thing is, and I didn't know this last year. So, I mean, again, I'm learning here. The reason I did 2 locations was for the northeast part of the county, the Vesterbergs, the Edmores, Sydney, Stanton area, where they didn't have to drive all the way to Greenville. Greenville was obviously a busy place, but I didn't know that we did that the county does electronic recycle, and Brenda can provide more information on that if so be it, in Stanton. So if you decide to do, again, if my goal was to make sure that we covered both areas so people could have a nice logistical place that they could drive to close. But if the county already does electronic recycle in Stanton, you're kind of doing that annual kind of central county where Tri-County, Howard City, Stanton, Edmore, Vesterberg area has a place that they can drive to. And if somebody in Greenville wants to come up, that's fine. And then the other one would be in Greenville. So I just wanted to cover both parts of the county when I did mine. But if from your consideration is if your constituents wanted one kind of in the middle of the county and one in the Greenville area from the density, that would be okay too. I'm just giving you all the options. So
Good.
I think there's my sales pitch. Questions? Make sense?
Anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman Peterson.
Brenda, where did these funds come from last year? Do you remember?
Public Improvement Fund.
Do we have any money in the public improvement fund? How much?
79,000.
Oh,
So I guess my question would be, are we married to Comprenew?
We're not. Again, back to what you think, what the county uses, I'd be willing, again,
Because I'm looking at last May's invoice from our electronic recycling event from Valley. We use Valley City
okay,
out of Kentwood. And we pay 20 cents a pound for LCD. I'm going to say TVs maybe. Or, yep. So 20 cents a pound for LCD TVs, 25 cents a pound for CRT, and 25 cents a pound for projection TVs. We pay nothing for PCs or printers.
okay. Would you like me to get a quote with Valley City and come back?
I think I would, yeah.
I think, and I'm not speaking for the board, just myself, but I think if you just got a quote from them, send us the both quotes together. We've heard your speech. You don't have to come back.
Okay. Just work through Brenda?
Yeah, and then we can bring it up in, in anything really. You can bring it up in controller updates or
Yeah.
anything like that. Correspondence, either way.
Yeah, I mean, I have just recently learned about Valley City as well. So I didn't
Yeah.
know that before.
And I
So
think that's probably why we switched, because of that flat fee they were charging was kind of,
do they bring staff and logistics too? Do they?
they do, don't they? I haven't worked one yet, but I will be working one on the 17th.
Yeah, I mean,
of this
The only
next
thing
month.
that I would, I work in cybersecurity, is the people that I had a fair amount of constituents ask me about, hey, I got a hard drive. I don't know what's on it. I want to trust that the individuals that are getting it are trained, they're certified, that they're either going to wipe the hard drives or they're going to shred them. And Comprenew does bring that. So if Valley City has that kind of, policy
Mhm.
and logistical where there's a chain of custody. I mean, I'm just looking at it from the lens and again, I'm not saying they don't do that, but that's one nice thing about Comprenew is they bring the people, they bring the training, they bring the staff, and it's really hands off. Again, maybe Valley City already does that, but I will definitely check on that. And again, the college is willing to do that. I think sounds like I have the support of it, or at least a tentative, like, hey, let's move forward and let's look at it
Mhm.
and then go on that. So Adam, I'll contact Brenda, get a contact from Valley City, and then,
If that's the board's pleasure, I'm just saying that what I would think would be.
hey, I always like to have two ideas. And I came here with, nothing to lose, nothing to gain. We just used CompreNew because of the Tech Fest, and they did a good job for us last year. They were very detailed. So,
Is anybody opposed to
I
him?
think that
Going
makes
out?
sense. I think we are on board with it and we'll find what works best and works.
I had a lot of good feedback from constituents. Thank you for doing this. And that was, again, what we had planned last year was a really good thing that I think long-term could, again, be an annual thing. Let's kind of just, routine. We learned a lot last year. So I think my time. Is Jeff your dad? And Kim?
Yes.
Okay. I went to school with his mom, so I'm like, you look like anyway. Sorry about that. Apparently that happens when you get older, so. I guess, any other questions for me? Comments? Thanks, Charlie, for what you do. Brenda? Mr. Painter? Sorry, I don't know, I know Adam a little bit, but.
We good? We need to table this?
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Be in touch,
Next
Brenda.
is Sheriff Williams to discuss amendments to the police protection agreements.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I had sent up on the agenda request some amendments to two of the police protection agreements with the townships, specifically Eureka and Crystal Townships. I know that you've gotten the correspondence from me regarding the status of the other contracts, and as such, these two we were going to amend.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for the sheriff?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Johnston.
It says both Edmore Village and Village of Howard City have terminated theirs effective April 1st.
Mhm.
Did they terminate them or did we?
They took action, and I think everybody's aware that I don't have people to man these. So it was inevitable, I would say.
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman Peterson.
Sheriff, I guess I have a few things. One, you came before the board to amend the contracts, but you didn't come before the board to cancel them. What's the logic behind that?
So,
Or give out ultimatums before?
well, I wouldn't characterize any of this as ultimatums. I don't want this to happen. The bottom line is I don't have the people to commit to these. That's the whole impetus of this. I don't have.
So,
the
but
people.
again, I asked you a pretty straightforward question. You came before us to amend these contracts, but to give out to
The other one-
Howard City
the other
and
two-
Edmore,
the other
you
two
just
have been-
said,
the other two have been terminated.
yeah, because you
technically by the-
went to them and
yeah.
said, hey, you have three options. These are the options that I'm giving you.
Well, I wouldn't.
Didn't come to
wouldn't
the
put it that
board.
way. I wouldn't.
Didn't come to the board to ask if you could do that. You said you've talked to a lawyer and got a legal opinion. We haven't seen that legal opinion. You went to these townships and said, this is what I'm going to do. You can get on board or we can terminate. They didn't have any real option.
I don't have any real option either.
I understand that.
Okay.
But I'm asking you again, a straightforward question.
I don't understand what your question is.
It's not hard to figure out.
What is the question?
Why are you bringing these amendments to us to approve and took your ultimatum to the other townships before you even asked us if you could amend the contract?
I had sent out an email to the board.
Yeah,
back
I
in
understand
March.
that. That's
Back
not
in March, and
asking
it was-
asking for approval or anything from the board.
No,
That's just saying this is what I'm going to do. And when other people have asked you, how can you do this? You just say, because I can.
well, I wouldn't characterize that discussion.
I'm sure that you would.
that way.
Right.
these contracts are written, and I know you've talked to an attorney as well. But the bottom line is, number one, I don't have the people to man them. So no matter what any attorney says, I can't fulfill them. They're written as 3-party agreements, and that's where we're at with respect to them.
How many deputies do you have right now?
So right now, as of right now today, I have 19 law enforcement officers, not including myself and the undersheriff. That's
Law
deputy out-
enforcement officers.
Right.
What is that term? What
that's-
is that?
that's- Those are
envelop?
deputy sheriffs all the way up to lieutenant.
Okay. So how many deputies do you have? On-road
They're,
deputies?
they're all deputies. And they're all
If we're
assigned
gonna
to
just
road patrol.
keep asking questions and getting half answers, we might as well not do this. How many on-road deputies do you have in your employ right now?
I have 19 deputies assigned to road patrol.
Okay. So you're telling me out of the 19 deputies that you have, you can't fulfill these contracts the way they were written.
That's right.
How is that?
What do you mean?
How can you not do that? I'm only seeing,
As I said, we're going to.
I'm seeing four townships here.
As I said, we're going to have in the email, I have upcoming additional departures as well. And so by the end of May, I'm only going to have 11. Okay. I have a responsibility across the county as a whole. I'm still not going to very likely be able to cover 24/7. And so I can't in good conscience say I can fulfill these contracts.
Okay.
And so that's why the amendment to the contract is before you today.
So again, we still haven't found an answer for why you're bringing these to the board and didn't bring the cancellations or the ultimatums to the board previous to giving them, outside of you sent us an email and you can do it because you can. So I guess my other question is, when voters passed this millage, you promised them 14 24-hour road patrol. It was countywide. You were slinging it everywhere. Where are we at on this? How are we losing so many deputies,
So right
one
now,
after another after another? It's a revolving door.
so right now, the job market for police officers throughout the state and throughout the nation is a very hard job market. There are tons of opportunities for these guys out there. They can go anywhere they want. We have a next door neighbor that pays about $11 more per hour right now. How do I compete with that? When these guys can come in, we get them trained, we put them on the road, they get some experience, and they can go anywhere they want. Before I came down here today, I hopped on the MCOLS, or the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards website, to see how many just job listings they had for licensed police officers in the state. 151. Most of those are for multiple positions. It's a tough job market for an employer right now, everywhere, not just us.
I love that you say that, but how many have we lost to Kent County? Okay, I'll phrase it differently. How many have we lost in county? How many deputies have we lost to entities within the county?
I'm aware of 2 off the top of my head.
Okay, so
And
that
we-
that
we
must not
lost
have had anything to
the
do with
Kent-
pay.
In the Kent County, we're losing a total of 4 in the last
We're
year.
losing or have lost?
We're losing 2, or we've lost 2, and we're losing 2 more Kent County in the last year
How do you know we're losing 2 more?
because they put letters in.
Okay,
That's where I get that. I'm at 19 now, but I'm going to be going on to 15 by the end of May.
I thought you said
I have a
11.
Just said
retirement-
11.
Right. I'm sorry, 11. Yeah.
So when beating this drum to the townships and everything, you say that this is directly related to the level of pay because Kent County is paying so much more. But I'm
So-
aware of at least one deputy that's gone
So
into
what I would
Greenville.
say is,
Hold on.
well, Greenville paid higher.
They pay the same, but they have more responsibility.
Well, I would argue.
Oh yeah, I guess firefighting isn't a more of a responsibility.
The,
So my question effectively is, what is going on outside of pay to make us lose these deputies?
So the reason people leave departments or jobs in general can be complex. For instance, and I categorized everything, or as far as people that have left since 2020. We had 4 resign in lieu, so they weren't quite cutting the mustard. We had 3 retire. We had 6 that left law enforcement totally. We have 4, and this is including the upcoming ones as well. 4 left for geographic reasons. They were a couple up in the UP. 1 came down from up there and moved back, those types of things. 6 left for higher paying law enforcement jobs, either MSP, Kent County, or wherever. And then the 2, including I think the one of them that you mentioned or that you're trying to get to, left for personal reasons, I would say.
So how do you know all of these things? Do you conduct exit interviews?
So I talk to them. I wouldn't say it's a formal exit interview, but I bring them in. And sit
Why don't
down
you give
and
them
talk.
exit interviews?
I don't conduct a formal exit, what I would call a formal exit interview, but I bring them in, I sit down, and I talk to them.
So when we lose other employees, we get a letter here that's an exit interview and we don't ever get that from you, correct?
I don't know. I don't know what you get.
Okay.
The one you get is from Rochelle and then it's optional.
Okay.
So they may not fill it out.
So you're just, you're
think,
hanging your hat
are we
on.
talking about the contracts? still?
No, I'm trying to get my head around why you're bringing these amendments to contracts to us, but not the cancellation of the contracts. You're saying it's because you're losing people. I'm trying to connect the dots of why we're losing people. And it really just comes back to you. I mean, when is it, do we start saying, well, they got a 20% increase not too long ago to get them up to
Well,
this
we didn't say they ever
competitive,
got a
this
20%
competitive
increase.
spot? They need a
wrong.
defined benefits program. That's what's going to keep them here. All these things. They need new road vehicles. We've got 17 of them sitting out there. I mean, when is it going to come back to leadership? When is it going to be pinned on, okay, there's a culture problem out there that we
Commissioner,
need to
I think
address?
I think you would like to make this some type of salacious attack on me.
I'm not making any salacious attacks.
I'm not
I'm
even going to
asking-
address that. I'm here for these amendments for the township police protection contracts, and that's why I'm here.
So losing deputies is okay with you. You're not going to address it.
That's not okay with me, although
It seems like it.
not why I'm here today. I'm not here to just have some type of inflammatory conversation. I'm here to get these taken care of, and so we can move forward. If you'd like to sit down and talk.
Yeah, I
about-
know that whole
I know, you don't
behind
wanna talk
closed
about it.
doors BS. I'm not even listening to that. I like to have my conversations out in the open where the taxpayers can hear it. The people that are paying you
Mhm.
$2.5 million a year for you to sit on a fund balance of $2.5 million a year and not provide them with 24-hour road patrol coverage. That's what I want to know. That's why I like doing this here and not in your office
That's why.
when you can feed
Exactly why
me.
you'd like to do it here.
You can treat me just like a mushroom.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's move on to the task at hand with the amendments that are before us. Is there any thoughts on, any other discussion on the 2 proposed amendments here? I share Vice Chairman Peterson's concerns about why the board isn't brought in on terminating these, but yet we are on the amendments. And I know that the legal answer to that is that you can't enter into a contract without us, because that would be in my mind, the simplest thing to do is just let you deal with these amendments as part of your operation, but you can't do that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We both need to be a part of this. Me on the operational side and you on the monetary side.
What's your pleasure?
Chairman.
Yeah, Commissioner Mahar.
It's obviously not ideal. I mean, everybody in this room, I think, would much prefer that we were fully staffed and we kept all these contracts. I hope that if we do away with the contracts or at least cut back on them, that we look in the future to get them back. The townships and the villages that have contracted with us over the years, at certain times it really saved us. Like we needed them at one time. And so I hope that we don't forget that when they're asking for us, to help them out, because some of these municipalities really appreciate our coverage and really want it. But I don't think that with the current staffing levels, the sheriff's department, I think it'd be hard for us to deny this, because I think we're really going to hurt the majority of the people in our county with the general patrol situation. And so I don't love this move by any sense, but I also feel like we're kind of in a situation where we probably are going to have to approve these to keep the rest of the county safe and covered.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner
I-
Alexander.
tend to feel the same way about the cancellations. I know there was a village in my municipality that kind of felt like they had no other decision other than to cancel. I think it would have been nice to come to us to have that conversation too, but I tend to agree, for the county as a whole, I don't see really another option forward other than going with these, so.
Would you be willing, if there was another option, to spend the law enforcement millage money in the county with other agencies that the county participated in buying officers for other PDs that are in the county, just to put more officers on the road? If they had the ability to hire people, could we?
I think that's a slippery slope.
Okay.
And it probably needs some discussion and some vetting of that.
What would you say would be slippery about it?
Because at what point when we are fully staffed, do you take it away?
I would say that any that we hired out county wouldn't be taken away. They'd be part of the numbers we're trying to get to. So in other words, if you were trying to get to 20 and we hired 10 out county, all you'd have to do is hire 10 and then we'd be staffed.
Oh, you mean then they would work for the sheriff's office?
No, they'd stay working where they're at, but it would be officers that are hired
Yeah.
with county millage money to work in the county.
Yeah, out in the county proper,
Yes.
in the, I think you have some jurisdictional, some liability issues. There'd be some things to vet, we could talk.
For
about
sure
that.
there would. I mean, I don't have any idea how that would, I'm asking your openness to that idea.
I-
If those other agencies could in fact hire police officers
Yeah.
and would take the money from us, is that a viable option other than banking the money?
I think it'd be worth discussing.
Okay. Anyone care to take action on the two amendments?
Chairman,
Commissioner Mahar.
proposed motion 1, I'll move to approve amendment 1 to the Eureka Township Police contract and allow for signatures. Can we do them both together? You want to do them one at a time?
Whatever you prefer.
And I'll move to approve amendment 1 to the Crystal Township Police contract and allow for signatures.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve two amendments, one to Eureka Township and one to Crystal Township for law enforcement services. Discussion,
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chairman Peters.
last thing I'll say is obviously I want the county to be protected. I don't want that to be construed in any newspaper articles or Facebook conversations. But I think there is an issue we need to address, and I don't believe it's being addressed. But I'm not here to say whether it is or isn't, and obviously the sheriff isn't either, so it just is what it is. I would call a roll call vote on this, though.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Johnston.
I agree that we need to probably approve these contracts. And everything I wanted to say, Adam's already said.
Sorry.
So, I'm just afraid, we pull these guys back in the county, we're gonna end up losing them too. We're gonna be down to 2 officers before long or whatever. Because like Adam says, I believe there's an internal problem that's not being addressed, and I think we're just gonna keep driving people away.
Commissioner Murray.
Yeah, I concur with what Commissioner Johnson was saying. I think that there is a culture problem within the sheriff's department. Don't know exactly where it lies, but anytime you see turnover on that level, there's something more going on. And I would just encourage the sheriff to dig into that and find out what that is and solve it. Because we can't continue to lose deputies and then not have a viable solution for covering the county. That's not an option. And we're likely going to have to look at some alternative methods that may seem a little out of the box right now. But I think that, I agree that we do need to pass these, and but this is like a stopgap measure. We need to solve the problem.
Commissioner Alexander, did you have one? Okay.
No, I just
Sheriff.
think 8 officers is a lot in 1 month to lose.
Yeah. Just for clarity, you talked about by the end of May or sometime in May, it'd be down to 11. Correct?
Yes.
19 down to.
Let me, because I wrote it down, so I wouldn't. No, I'm sorry. I'll have 11 openings. It'll be 15.
You'll have 15.
Yes, and that's deputy all the way up to lieutenant. And I'm sorry if I misspoke.
And
It'll
then
be 11 openings.
I think Commissioner Peterson was asking, I don't know if he got the right answer. I think what he was getting at is how many of those deputies, I know they're all deputy sheriffs, how many of those people are not assigned to the office? In other words, if you get down to 15, how many people work either in CMAT or in an office job?
Or
So
Marine
it's going to be
patrol.
11 actual patrol on the road people.
And the ideal number that you'd need in that same apples for apples where you'll have 11, what is that number you would ideally like to have?
Well, I'd like to be fully staffed, but
But
you
what
mean-
is
you mean
that- what is
to get back to which level? Like if you're just talking 24/7, probably 3 more people. If we're adding townships on top of that,
If
then
we were going to get to the promise of the millage of, I think 14 new deputies
Mm-hmm.
was, how many would that equate to in that 11
I think
people that are on the road? How many
I
would
think
you
at
need?
least 3 more people.
Will just be 3 people shy?
Well, of where I would meet like a minimum staffing type.
What-
type thing.
How many do we need
That
to
would
get
put-
to
that would
that
put a sergeant-
maximum?
I'm sorry.
How many do we need to get to the pie in the sky maximum,
Oh.
just fully staffed? You couldn't take another person if you walked through the door.
Well, with the all the township people that we don't have now, it would be 30 total,
Okay.
I believe is the number.
Didn't you say you had 11 openings though right now?
11 openings, so it'd be 26, and if you count the undersheriff and I, it'd be 20. Yeah, so I think it'd be 26, I guess. And then if the 4 townships that we would be losing would be that 30 number. I'm sorry. So without these 4 township positions, then yes, fully staffed would be 26, and then the undersheriff and I would make 28 for 28 sworn.
Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Johnston,
Yes.
Mahar,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Carr.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion carried.
Was that both or was that?
Mhm.
Okay. Commissioner Carr, are you going to be at Eureka tonight?
No, I guess good morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4:30 agenda item, the county treasurer is with us to discuss an incorrect salary for her chief deputy. Welcome. Lay it on us.
I was gonna say, you guys are gonna know us by our first names, nothing else.
You can almost tell when the door opens.
Well, if I had known this previous to when I first started asking for an adjustment to chief deputy's salary, I would have went that way, but I wasn't aware that actually, when you have a chief deputy that comes in to office midterm, where the salary has already been set, that person that comes in should be paid at the same level of the person that was there previously.
So maybe just, I'll cut to the chase and save us all some time. So we've asked our legal counsel, he's asking us if you can get us all the information you're citing.
Yes,
He needs that. It's our belief right now that's not correct. That if you bring in a new person and you've got a pay scale, you have the ability to start that person at the bottom, at the beginning of the pay scale. If the person left was at the top of the scale and you bring someone else in, you're not obligated to start them at the top of the scale. If you've got a scale, you can still start them at a step that's appropriate with them. The wording that you're using about the term of office changes when that employee changes. If you had an employee that was in that office midway through the year, we wouldn't have the ability to lower their salary because that's still in the term of office. But if you change employees, that's the trigger that changes that term of office, is what we're being told at this point. But he'll acknowledge that there's still, he'd like to see your research or what you've got to make a final decision on that. So we're really not prepared to do any more with it today until you can get him that information, if that makes sense.
I guess, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I would move to place the treasurer's presentation on file.
Support. Been moved and supported to place the treasurer's request on file. Discussion.
Commissioner Chair,
Commissioner Murray.
as I read this, I was a little bit taken back. To me, like you said, it seemed obvious. If we follow that rationale all the way through, then pay scales mean nothing. Because anytime any employee gets replaced,
No, it's just for,
anytime
Deputies
any
and-
chief,
and
anytime any
treasurers.
deputy gets replaced, anytime any chief
Yeah,
deputy gets
right.
replaced, they're automatically on the pay scale of the person that left. So if we have a pay scale that's not a scalable position. And if that's the case, then we likely will need to take a hard look at that at budget time and changing that. I really want to see this legal opinion and see, what they have to say. But I this to me seems a bit absurd, but.
Well, I don't know, we can argue back and forth, but we can't make any decision today until our legal counsel's had a chance to give us his opinion. And he'd like your information to go with what he's got to give us his opinion. So,
I'd like to call the question.
all right,
One second.
go ahead.
John, it sounds like initially that our legal disagrees with your legal. And so we'll gather some more information. Our legal will look at it and then he'll advise us appropriately. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I was just basing it on what I had read from other counties that are in the same process right now. And there was you that may have been at UCOLA was it last week?
Yes, I was.
There was a presentation also given there on regards to this. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not, It's not a pie in the sky. It's just like when I realized that that was the,
Okay, questions been called for. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Up next is correspondence. Vice Chairman Peterson, please.
Alrighty. Correspondence for Monday, April 14th. First up is Camp Ford Lincoln's asphalt project. I know Doug's not here. I don't see him. Pretty straightforward. If you guys have been to Camp Ford Lincoln before, this looks like the area in front of all the cabins leading down to the pavilion, correct, Brenda?
Yes.
Okay. So, that is, not our only revenue generating park, but it is the largest revenue generating park. So I think this could probably come out of either capital improvements or the park fund, correct, Brenda?
Park capital improvements.
Park capital improvements, okay. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on this? If not, I would move to accept the bid from Murray's Asphalt for the amount not to exceed $12,400 to repave the areas at Camp Ford Lincoln. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next up, page 32 in your packet, the Montcalm County Community Advancement Committee, say that 5 times fast, met on April 9th to review the initial round of applications. We do have a couple of them here. You guys want to talk or just? Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming, guys.
Moral
I love the
support.
moral support. Yeah, I know. You're never short on words, Mike. I get it. So we received 5 applications. One, Winfield Township is installing a Veterans Memorial Park at their new township hall. A citizens wanted some money for virtual instructor school for yoga training. Commissioner Mahar brought that up in a previous meeting. White Pine District Library was requesting $10,000 to repurpose their south lawn for a parking lot. Lakeview Area Museum was asking for $5,000 to add a restroom to their existing business, and Crystal Township Historical Society would like a walk-up historical information sign. Cost total would be $13.95 on that. The committee talked about every request and came up with a little modified version of the request. So the committee is recommending that Winfield Township receive $5,000 for their Veterans Memorial. That should cover most of the flagpoles. White Pine District Library received $5,000. That would be a help. Lakeview Area Museum, $5,000. That should cover, I can't remember, about a third, maybe half of their restroom. What's that?
I think it was a quarter.
Okay, quarter. And then Crystal Township's Historical Society, the $13.95 would cover the entire sign. So does anybody have any questions about that?
Commissioner Peterson.
Sir.
The White Pine District Library had requested 10,000, and the committee recommended 5,000. Do they have the additional funds to complete the project necessary, or are we just giving them?
Well, I believe that the library, the library district of Montcalm County has enough money. Their millage is for a full mill, so they receive around $2.5 million a year. I think their complete, the complete cost of the project is $50,000. Okay. I think they could probably lean on their advisory board to get that project finished. This is a reimbursed donation, gift, whatever your allotment. So they would have to spend the money before we give them the money. So this isn't, we just write them a check and then they don't do it and they buy $5,000 worth of books. I don't know how anybody would spend $5,000 on books, but But that's, yeah, we're not really sure. We were just trying to be somewhat equitable for the worthwhile causes. Miss Palmer wanted to do the virtual instructor school. The only problem we found with that is it would essentially be funding a business. I don't know if it's a for-profit business, but all the same, if she took the instructions that she got and went outside of the scope of helping veterans and use that for profit, that would kind of be against our bylaws. So we had to strike that one. So if nobody has any other questions, I would move to authorize the county controller to notify the recommended awardees of their community advancement reinvestment funding award as presented.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment that I tend to agree that the libraries get quite a hefty budget. Like he said, the 2.5 million. So I wouldn't be in favor of giving them any additional money.
Okay. Anyone else? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Motion carried.
Okay, I thank you on behalf of our Community Advancement Committee. We will be having another round of grant applications starting in August, September. And then the years following, it'll just be a month in August, or the month of August, and then we'll hopefully be able to award a little bit more money. Next up, warrant reports. They start on page 33. Warrant report number 03272025 in the amount of $229,332.89. Next up, warrant report 04032025 in the amount of $215,314.44. Warrant report number 04102025 in the amount of $585,872.82. And finally, warrant report number 04142025 in the amount of $1,486,047.19 for a grand total of $2,516,567.34. If nobody has any questions, comments, or concerns on those warrant reports, I will move for their approval and appropriate signatures.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve all 4 warrant reports totaling $2,516,567.34. Discussion.
I just have a comment.
Okay.
Did you all notice our final bond payment on the building was in that run?
I thought it was
So we can
next.
burn that bond book?
I thought it was next month.
No, that's why that one is so big that we
Right.
looked for. So that was like 800 and some thousand.
20 years in the
It's
making.
done. 25.
25, yeah.
We're done.
And that was 900 and what? 925,000 a year?
Yeah, we paid an interest payment in last November. So it was 800 and something
Okay.
this payment, but yeah, 900.
But it was historically 900 and some a year.
Mhm.
Man, what are we gonna do with all that money?
When we started that,
Pay for tariffs. Pay for tariffs.
when we started that, we paid the first one. I said, only 24 more.
How does it feel being here at the start and the beginning?
It's nicer here
There's a
at the,
couple of
Yeah,
us
it's
today.
nicer to be out. Yeah, there's 3 of us here.
I brought this book for Pat to see his opening commissioners
yeah.
from 1917 to 1922. Pat's in this book. He was a young high school student. You're more than welcome to look through it. It's wild. There's an advertisement. It's just advertisements with words that literally say just Pete's Pill Shop or something. It's wild. But anyway,
Any other discussion on the motion to pay the 4 warrants? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, and then the consent agenda, items 7 through 17, we've talked about in prior meetings and other things. If nobody has anything on that, I would move to place those items of the consent agenda on file.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to place the consent agenda, items 7 through 17 on file. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The rest of it is just for your information, and we have no resolutions from other counties. If nobody has anything to add to that, that would be your board correspondence for Monday, April 14th.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Peterson.
Thank you.
Up next is committee reports, and we don't have any. After that, new business, item 1, clerk
I don't
correspondence.
have anything.
Item 2, controller correspondence.
Just a couple things. You noticed in the consent agenda items there, the tower lease. that We got that back, that fully executed agreement. We also did receive the $10,000 signing payment last week, so that's been receipted in. The auditor, Joe Verlin, will be here at our next meeting to go over the audit results. All good. No surprises this year.
Good.
If anyone wants a copy of the audit to take with them to review before next week, stop by my office and get you one. But you got to bring it back for next time. And then that info I placed on your desk was from the MAC conference I attended last week. Just grab those for you to review.
Thank you.
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay. Item 3 is chair board correspondence. The chair doesn't have anything. Does anyone else? If not, old business, we don't have anything. Public comments.
I would move to adjourn.
Sport.
Been moved and supported to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
My adopted father gave it to me for my birthday.
Fantastic.